The elderly mother. There once was an old widow, nearing the end of her life, whose last living friend had died that morning. Her death reminded the old widow of all the family and friends she had lost over the years, which led to her brooding on how lonely her life had become and how cruel fate had been to her. She was still grieving and brooding on her misfortune when the bells for the evening church service brought her out of her reverie. So she stirred herself and went to church as she always did in the evening, to pray for the souls of the departed whom she missed more than words could express. But when she entered the church, she noticed that no candles were burning as they usually were, but still the church was illuminated by a dim glow, and moreover it was full, with not a seat to spare. Normally there were no more than 12 members of the congregation and the priest, who was absent on this occasion. When she looked closer at the congregation, she was startled to recognize the faces of her dead relatives and friends, dressed in their grave clothes and with their faces gaunt and pale. The only sound that issued from their lips was a soft, low, keying cry, like the sound that breaks from a mourner's lips. Before she could turn and flee, the old woman saw her own mother's ghost stand and address her in a voice which seemed to come from afar. "You long to see your sons, who died in infancy, and for whom you still grieve. Look there, by the altar, and you will see them as they would have been had they lived." The old woman did as she was told, and was horrified to see the faint apparitions, one twisting on the end of a hangman's rope, and the other broken on the torturer's rack. "Fate has not been so cruel as you thought," said the grandmother. "It took your children while they were still young, to spare them a pitiful death, and you more grief than you could have borne. Now we have gathered here to greet you and bring you home with us." And with those words, the widow knelt by the altar and died.